Well, AOL's backpedal on its 401k match is leaving many folks to wonder just how secure are retirement benefits. Might corporate cost cutting ultimately collide with your 401k? For answers, we turn to David Blanchett, and he is the head of retirement research at Morningstar Investment Management. David, welcome. Good to see you. So this does raise the question of whether such things as the 401k match are now in the crosshairs as companies have to deal with more expensive medical costs, among other things. Do employees need to be worried and on the lookout for this?
Well, I mean, yes and no. I think one thing to be aware of is that the 401k match is a benefit just like healthcare. And so in this case, AOL was trying to justify changing the match schedule to based upon the fact that healthcare costs were increasing. And so each company has a choice. They can choose to potentially change the match and make the employee pay more for healthcare, or do the reverse. And so I think it's going to really be a company-by-company decision.
You know, David, the move to give you a lump sum for your 401k at the end of the year, as long as you're with the company on December 31st, that may be the way that some companies choose to do it. But then you're basically losing out on 11 months worth of investment income, hopefully investment income, and you could you end up market timing rather than investing on a regular basis on a monthly basis.
You know, I don't see it as that big of a deal. Obviously, it's a problem for investors or participants who leave the 401k plan during the year, but losing potentially 8% on the match isn't going to really affect someone that much. I think that there's other things the company could do to potentially make employees even more mad about changing the match schedule to kind of increase contributions or something.
But to Sue's point there, it defeats the idea of dollar cost averaging in, which I know is something that you all believe in at Morningstar, because as Sue points out, if you get it all in a lump at the end of the year, you're going to put it to work at what may later turn out to be exactly the wrong moment. So it does pose that problem, doesn't it, David?
It does. I mean, it's obviously risky to put all your money in the market at one time, but for most employees, the employer match is only going to be a half or a third of a fourth of all their contributions. So they are still going to be dollar cost averaging their employee contributions regularly throughout the year.
What about the market itself, David? I mean, that's another factor. If you had gotten your 401k lump sum at the end of last year, it would have been the end of a tremendously positive year for Wall Street. And we know by now that this new year is not shaping up quite as nicely for Wall Street. The pitfalls of market timing, I think, are something that most investors worry about anyway. And if you're using your 401k that way, I think it could be difficult for people, I would think.
Definitely. I think that the fact that employee deferrals are invested maybe twice a month or once a month is a really good way to do that dollar cost averaging. And if more plans do move to this arrangement where the employer matches into the year and the markets do move the wrong direction, obviously a lot of employees, I think, will be very upset. You know,
one of the paradoxes of employee matches is that the more people do what they're supposed to do, i.e. save, the more it costs the employer. Correct? And what I'm hearing you say,
I think that's one of the.
Go ahead.
Go ahead,
please.
I was going to say, and that's one of the dangers, I think, of employer matches. There's been a big push in the 401k industry recently to improve participant savings, have participants and employees save more in 401k plans. Well, that can have significant cost implications for the employer itself, because if they're matching 3% of employer pay and participation jumps by 50%, that could be a huge additional cost for the employer.
But the bottom line here, David, if I've got it right, is a 401k match is a company benefit, and company benefits can get cut, right?
Correct. And so your money is always safe. The money that you've deferred out of your paycheck is always safe, but future employer contributions can always change. I think that a lot of companies made changes back in 08, 09 because of the market when it went down. And so it can always change, but for the most part, most companies are usually pretty consistent over time when it comes to matching employer contributions.
Have to leave it there. David Blanchett, head of retirement research at Morningstar Investment Management.